Mr. Chair, and through you, thank you to our witnesses for joining us here today. It appears that Mr. Ozosky was only invited back to be a contractor with CBSA after he was caught in a fib, telling the committee that he had never met with GC Strategies, yet we know that that was not the case, that he had, in fact, met with GC Strategies and Christian Firth on a Zoom call. But my question to you is, was Mr. Ozosky hired as a casual employee or as a contractor?
Casual employee.
So he was a casual employee, which means that you, as CBSA president, are responsible and accountable for his actions. Is that correct?
Yes, I signed the letter of offer.
And so the fact that you came to this committee today without the information of what information he accessed, I think is rather troubling. So I look forward to you providing this committee with all information that he accessed during his time as an employee while also being with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Point out, there's 16,000 employees in the CBSA. So
I'm going to stop you there. There may be 16,000 employees, but only one that you hired back, who was the former president of the CBSA. So there is an increased degree of accountability there. How many consultants do?
Mr. Nair, I just want to pause you for a second because I think you just reiterated the question that Mr. Barrett had before. This is not you're just reiterating that you're expecting the documents, but Mr. Barrett's already requested them. I just want to make, okay, that's fine. So it's clear for the witness as well for the analyst. Thank you, Mr. Nair. You've got 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
16,000 employees. How many consultants currently are hired by CBSA?
I can come back to that.
Well, you told us 68 have been reduced, but I want to know how many total. You don't have that number at your fingertips here? You're able to say 16,000 employees, but yet you've been asked about consultants, but you're not able to tell us the total number of consultants here today at a meeting about consultants and consulting practices?
I'm happy to come back with a list of contracts that are currently active in CBSA, but that information is also largely posted. Any contracts over $10,000, I believe, is posted on the website.
Yes,
so that information
you're able to tell us
available.
68 have been reduced, but you don't tell us the total number. Mr. Ali, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your last name, but could you describe this Lansdowne Park event? Was it a dinner? Was it drinks? What was this event?
Mr. Chair, it was a evening meal, probably ended around 7 p.m.
And was there any discussion with any of the attendees about any business dealings with CBSA? Was CBSA business discussed at all?
No, Mr. Chair, it was a team event. It was discussing ArriveCAN work, not any contracts. Like I said, it was a hard project to work on. We were working long hours, and it was really just socializing with team members.
Business of ArriveCAN was discussed then?
I wouldn't say any financial or contractual discussions were had. It was the day-to-day grind of ArriveCAN was discussed.
The Conservative Party introduced an opposition motion calling for the recollection of funds paid to contractors who did not actually no work. Ms. O'Gorman, you mentioned in the response to a previous question that you were working on it. Are you recommending that any of those funds be reimbursed?
So, absolutely, if we've found contractors who were paid that did no work, we will absolutely work with PSPC.
You're saying if. I want to know, have you recommended any funds be reimbursed?
Not as of yet. We're going through the material.
To whom did Fred Gaspar report when he was vice president of CBSA?
Me.
Why did he leave CBSA?
He had an opportunity at Transport Canada, and that's where he works now.
From December 2nd to December 8th, 2022, Mr. Gaspar took a trip to Bahrain. Are you aware of this trip?
I believe that was in the context of the World Customs Organization.
Are you aware if he did anything else while he was on that trip?
No?
Did he undertake any personal business while on that trip?
I don't know.
Did he attend the World Cup while on that trip?
I have no idea.
You never asked him? You never asked why inflated costs were incurred for a trip to that region of the country during the FIFA World Cup, and you didn't ask if it was perhaps because of an interest in seeing a World Cup game?
I don't. There's a WCO meeting. He would have attended as our representative. If he took extra time on his own cost to see and do something else, I don't believe that that is out of bounds. I don't know if he went to see the World Cup, and if he did, I'm not sure that that would be inappropriate.
Well, tens of thousands of dollars Canadian taxpayers might disagree. But could you
no,
provide
Mr.
us
Chair?
could you provide us with a list of all meetings that he undertook while in Bahrain?
Mr. Chair, I think it's important to not let it stand that without any evidence, and any evidence that I've seen, that somebody's accused of spending taxpayer money on personal activities. I'm not aware of that. If there's information to suggest that, I would be interested in seeing it. I am happy to furnish the meetings that Mr. Gaspar attended while he was at the WCO. If he met other people on his own time, then that's a question for him. But I have not seen anything to see that he was using taxpayer dollars to do inappropriate things. If that's the case, we will look into it. But I think it's important not to let that accusation hang out there without any further information.
Thank you, Ms. Gorman. As is my custom, you have the last for 5 minutes, please.
I want to circle back to the number of consultants that you have reduced. You said the number was 68. What is the total number of consultants that CBSA is using?
So I'll have to come back. Is your question in the IT? So we've got a number of contracts across the organization that relate both to informatics, guard services, training. So we have a lot of contracts. We have been reducing our reliance on IT contracts, and I can come back with the list that we currently have.
Yeah, let's get a full list of all the contracts. You said the number that you reduced was 68, so it would be interesting to know what that reduction is from. It's important to note that, of course, CBSA officers are currently considering taking job action, and part of their grievance is excess management. So when the taxpayers are also paying for more outside consultants and more outside management, that's going to impact the traveling public and commerce in Canada. I want to talk about Mr. Ossowski's access to documents when he was hired for a day to prepare for his committee appearance. As president of the CBSA, are there any documents that you don't have access to, within the CBSA?
I don't think I would have access to all of the documents from my computer, but my assumption is that I could access any of our holdings. I would.
So PricewaterhouseCooper used to do extensive business, has historically done extensive business with the Canada Border Service Agency. Currently, you've said they're not doing any business. Mr. Ossowski is recruited by PricewaterhouseCooper from being the head of the Canada Border Service Agency. And what better way to get business with the CBSA than to hire its former president, understand its workings? Now, Mr. Ossowski came back to your employ to prepare for a committee appearance, but only after he'd been caught lying. So there's an integrity question about the individual. So you hire the individual knowing that the lie's been told, and then give them access to the information that he would have had access to, you said, while he was president. Would that not be commercially valuable to PricewaterhouseCooper to have one of their top consultants, the former head of the CBSA, get the office door unlocked and logged into the computer, and you signed his letter of offer, you said, but you seem like, to be honest, a bit laissez-faire about, unconcerned about what he accessed and who he talked to, and it doesn't seem to have occurred to you before today that perhaps there was a commercial interest with someone who had demonstrated dishonesty in front of a parliamentary committee. Does that concern you?
So, Mr. Chair, again, I'm going to take issue with the language around lying. Mr. Ossowski testified to the fact that he had not recalled meeting or being in a meeting where individuals from GC Strategies were on the screen.
Ma'am, he said he wasn't in the meeting, and he was in the meeting. So by any other definition, that's a lie. So let's move on to the substance of the question. So we won't litigate whether or not he lied. I'm asserting it. You refute it. We'll accept that. Are you not concerned about at least the appearance of the circumstances that you created by hiring Mr. Ossowski? It seemed like it was in his interest to get this offer of employment from you for the day, not in the interest of the CBSA. So what's the advantage to the CBSA, if not to get story straight, which you've taken issue with, that characterization? So if it was just so he could access his emails, why not pay him $1 so that he was technically employed? Why are we giving the guy $500? Seems like a good get for him for the day.
Yeah, so again, if hiring him on casual to give him access to documents to prepare for the appearance, it's in the Crown's interest that former officials come and can testify to what they did and why they did it while they were in their job, and that was the rationale for bringing him back. If he did not need to come back and could have accessed the information and the documents that, again, date back to his time as president, then that's on me, and I would happily provide that access going forward without any framework of employment around it.
Can you provide to this committee a list of all of the other occurrences where similar treatment has been offered to former employees of the CBSA with relation to their testifying before parliamentary committees during your tenure as CBSA president?
There is nobody.
So special access, it seems like special treatment for
But
Mr. Osowski.
there haven't been retired people who are former officials invited to the committee. So the other employees who have moved departments were also given the offer to access or tell CBSA what documents they may wish to see to prepare for their own testimony.
Thank you.
The only one who was paid to prepare
Thank
before
you very much.
Because the others are employees.
That is your time.
Not of CBSA.
Turn out
No, of the
order. Turn
federal
out to
government, of the Crown.
Ms. Shanahan. You have the floor for 5 minutes.